You are watching your favorite travel and lifestyle show coming to you from the relaxing Solstice Spa right here at Silver Star Casino. This is Trendz Travel and I'm your host, Eloise Scoville. Now, to welcome the brand new decade, you'll be seeing a whole lot of emerging fashion trends showing themselves on the streets and on the catwalks.
New year, new decade. What does that mean? New fashion. And this new decade, we're expecting to see more fashion and more fashion for our people. Right next to me, I'm joined by Ria, who's going to be giving us more insight on what to expect on this new decade of fashion. Ria, hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you, Joe?
Fine, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
The last time I saw you were doing Fashion Police.
Yeah.
Now you're back.
We're back, man.
So it's a new decade.
Yes.
And fashion, you know, fashion plays a huge role, whether it's locally or internationally. What can we expect on the new decade when it comes to fashion?
I mean, for the past decade, what we can talk about is the transition that has happened in African fashion, where we saw the rise of local brands in the past 10 years take over and being recognized by the global market. But not having said that, we've seen how they decided to create garments that were more wearable, where we saw collaborations between designers be put into Woolworths, where we saw local designers be put into Edgar's. So there was more shift in creating garments that were just not on the ramp, but that people could have access to because they took time for South African designers to get to. And I think with that shift, that made people want to wear South African designers globally, because then if you can create something that people can have in big masses, that created an opportunity for local designers to be seen globally. So I think that in the past decade was such a successful move for South African designers, especially the young ones, because they are the ones who came with the shift to create clothes that are wearable. And I think that past decade is one of the greatest lessons that has ever happened to South African fashion.
Let's talk about what to expect. You know, we just started the year. Fashion Week's about to kick off. But let's talk now. Let's talk fashion now. What can we expect? Because you've got lovely stuff behind me that you can take us through that. What can we expect? How can you drive fashion to the people?
I mean, like yesterday or the day before yesterday, we can start this new decade to say even in international, it's a good decade for South African designers or African designers. I mean, Richie Mnisi, Vivia Studios, Clive Randall and Floyd were showcasing at Berlin Fashion Week 2 days ago. Yes. So I think for me, for the fact that already the decade in fashion is already taking Africa with it, it shows that the past decade was the transition to what we really are.
Yes,
so from now, so I would say
sort of opened
exactly to say that decade didn't end. It was just the beginning of what the world is expecting of us, you know. So I would say, like, for instance, I mean, we mentioned a lot about Tebe Magugu. This was one of the garments that got him to be the first African LVMH winner last year. Yes, so he's the first African designer to be under LVMH and winner. And I think this on itself, the fact that it happened in a transition between the last decade and the new decade, the world is bound to want African designers.
Yes, the world is hungry for African
Exactly.
designers.
So now the world is hungry because now they want to see more, not just Tebe, but Tebe has opened those doors for everyone. And now everyone can be seen and given an opportunity. Now if you say I'm from South Africa, people want to see what you have.
Let's look at some of the items that are here on the rack that you can just take us through to expect on the runway or just to expect on the street.
I think this is a very good everyday wear for the office, because I mean, if you wear this with pants under, because I think that was the initial creation of this garment, you can wear it with maybe these red pants whereby they can show on the side, and you've created something that is very classic, very office based, but it's also you can go to an evening or date after work, you know. So I think what Muso Maxwell creates is an everyday office, but you can also be comfortable to go out with it, you know. This you see, like, for example, this blazer is supposed to go with this skirt, you know. So what very, very structures and cuts of how they've created this garment. It's more, when you look at their clothes, it's more attention to detail as to how they got to create these shapes.
I want to put you in the spot. Which designer are you hoping this new decade they're gonna take it and run with it?
It's not that I hate to say it, but I would like to see it. It's probably Cindy Mfabe. I think that girl has what it takes to not just create what this past 5 years kids have created, but to go beyond that. I think for the next 2 years, 3 years, we can look at Cindy Mfabe.
We are seeing some of the stuff are coming back. We're seeing about palazzo, if I could call
Yes,
it.
the 90s style.
The 90s style is
Yeah,
coming back.
yeah.
What's your take about that?
I don't think the 90s style has ever gone. If your 90s style was always a personal style, I myself, I'm a victim of holding on to 90s style. I think the 90s style was the most comfortable style ever created.
Thank you so much for giving
Thank you, Njabulo.
Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
There you have it, guys, from Ria Pavane, one of our image consultants. We're moving on to a more street style type of lady who's going to give us more insight what to expect from the street. So my next guest is Tandoza. She's a drifter. I'm not sure what that is. So she's going to give us some more insight as to what is drifting. For a person like me who's clueless about drifting, I want to find out more about this new trend. I think it's a trend. So let's find out more. Let's go.
Hey Njabulo.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good, great. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So straight to the point, what is thrifting?
Well, thrifting is buying things that are pre-owned or second-owned, you know, second-hand things or pre-owned things. It's something that's been happening like for a very long time, but now I think it's starting to be very trendy in South Africa. I know overseas it's something that they've been doing for a very, very long time. So I'm a thrifter. I go to all the second-hand spots, thrift spots where they sell clothes, and I just go in hard and I get the latest fashion.
Difference between thrifting and street style?
Well, thrifting, like I said, it's pre-owned stuff, right? So it's things that someone else had before and they decided to let go of it, right? And then street style is more influenced by what is happening in the streets right now. You know, the culture, what is happening like right now in our streets. There's things like Cotton Fest. People are wearing baggy clothes, branded t-shirts. They're trying to look cool, go back to the 90s. And that's what thrifting somehow incorporates street style.
It's a new decade.
Yep.
So how is thrifting fitting into that?
I don't know when to start when it comes to that. Let me just start with the important things first. Globally, thrifting is very good for the globe. It's very good for the environment, you know, because it saves parts of recycling. It's like you are recycling, like how you recycle paper and whatever. So it doesn't need new infrastructure, it doesn't need new material, it doesn't need new pollution in the area. You know, you just take things that are already there, you give them new life, you use them. Like, can you tell that everything that I'm rocking today was pre-owned?
No, could never tell. So with the start of a new decade, what are you hoping to see coming back into the fashion, or are you hoping we should leave the 90s and focus on the new decade?
We're in 2020, you know, and in 2020 we can bring back things from the 90s but give it the flavor of the year that we live in now, because it has some sort of influence, you know. Yeah.
Tando, I love this look.
Yeah.
What inspired this look?
When I went thrifting and I saw this, I just loved the texture, the material, and how smooth it is. Like, you can, like, it's very smooth. It looked like a high quality item, you know. I like the detailing here, which is also here. Reminds me of, like, you know, Asia, something
Yes.
like that type of background. And I wanted to give it like a chill look to it, because we're talking about street style and not make it like too sophisticated. So I paired it up with the sneakers I was wearing, you know, for the gold and silver touch. And then, yeah, I love it.
What do you think about my look? Am I on trend? What's happening?
Honestly, I think it's like, it's good, it's great, yeah. Yeah, basic, tailored, nice pants, white t-shirts, nice sneakers. It's clean. I can give you thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, take it, take it.
So I'm getting a 10 young.
And it means a lot because it comes from me. I'm a very stylish person.
I will take your word for it, eh? Thank you so much,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Now, as I said earlier, I'm in the tranquil environment that is the Solstice Spa right here at Silver Star Casino. And while I get some pampering and relaxation on, I'd like to know what you do to pamper yourself and to relax for the coming new year. You can let us know on Twitter or on Instagram. That's on Trendz on SABC using the hashtag SABC News.
We believe that the fourth industrial revolution can change things for us.
We can do telemedicine. Now that means that over a long distance or any distance, I don't have to go and visit a doctor. I can actually see the doctor online.
In Africa, we don't have sufficient doctors. In Africa, we don't have sufficient clinics. It actually makes sense.
Wi-Fi and 5G technology formed some part of the conversation that took place right here.
5G, of course, has the advantage of better experience and also the high efficiency when it comes to the cost per bit.
We haven't issued spectrum in the last 10 years. We have 4G today, which we have had to harvest spectrum from other technologies to be able to get 4G, and now it's costing us a lot more money.
Many, if not most, small medium enterprise businesses are making technology their own businesses.
On Network every Sunday at 8:30 p.m.
Did you know that Victoria Falls is a waterfall in southern Africa on the Zambezi River? At the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, Scottish missionary and explorer David Livingstone is believed to have been the first European to view Victoria Falls on 16th November 1855 from what is known as Livingstone Island. Livingstone named the discovery in honor of Queen Victoria of Britain. The Victoria Falls are also called Musi Wathunya, or the smoke that thunders.
Gone are the days where one-of-a-kind art pieces were only available to the upper echelons of society or in special galleries or exhibitions. Now you can catch one-of-a-kind art pieces on clothing nonetheless. And Puleng takes us to Davidton, where a young artist shows us exactly that.
Street style has never looked this bright. Adding his personal touch to this ever-evolving trend is Davidton's very own clothing designer, Butlali Murotolo. Under his clothing design company, Mankind Painting, Butlali is giving casual wear an edge.
Trendy Travelers, the year 2020 marks the beginning of a brand new decade. So we thought we should set the trend and look at how we should be dressing this year. And I thought maybe let's play with a little bit of color. I'm looking kind of bland, but I believe the people that I'm meeting today, they are bright, they are colorful, they are bold. I might just pick up a thing or two about how to add a bit of color to this look.
It's called Mankind Painting. It's all about the features of the world. What we do best is painting a brain of an organization or a person, individual, so that we express whatever the person needs in art. Sometimes we just express our art to inform the world what it's all about.
Whether it's jeans or sneakers, Butlali has designs that sets his clients apart from the rest.
The youth is much more into fashion rather than other people. They are more expressing color because they are vibrant. So whenever they see color with a name or an idea in art, projection is either fashion, music, nature, as long as it's color. The youth is my main target audience. Social platforms are a big market for me for advertising, as much as the youth is comprised on the internet. Whenever I'm done designing a shoe for you, I post it there. Other person can get the idea that there's some shoe art happening around the block. I travel forth and back to customers. I do in-calls, house calls. They also even reach to me. And therefore, that's how I express, that's how I grow.
Surely there must be a cool name that describes this artistic expression.
I call it Atmatigi because there's a lot more weight in art. They got fine art, they got natural art, they got fuzzy art, doodles. I paint all, I can manage all, but I follow what the client wants. If the client seeks fine art, it's fine art. If the client seeks doodles, I paint doodles.
If you can't express yourself in words, why not say it loud and clear with bright colors on your clothing items?
Nationally acclaimed professional dance company Moving Into Dance is showing us exactly what they're doing right or different to produce so many award-winning dancers. And Nadia was there.
Dance is a basic element of human expression. In our quest to master different dance moves, we headed to the studio in Newtown, where award-winning dancers and choreographers learned their skill. Breaking barriers in an industry that is not taken seriously, these movers and shakers are steadfast on their mission.
MID, it's a dance company and a dance school at the same time. So what we do here, we teach Afrofusion and other different dance styles like contemporary or ballet or jazz. So we've got 3 levels. So we've got a first year course that we do every year where we intake students from different communities or disadvantaged communities, whereby we take them in for a period of 1 year to teach them how to choreograph, how to dance, how to sell their works, and also how to start their own companies. So with that program, it's a program which is it's based on, or it's done through funding that we get from the NAC or from the lottery, and also the number of the students are determined by how much we have got from the funding. And also we've got what we call an outreach project, whereby we go to different community schools like in Soweto, Tembisa, Alexandra, where we work with different schools, teaching them edu-dance, which is education and dance. So we incorporate academic subjects with movement.
I have 2 left feet, so...
No, we're going to take it very slow. So you're going to start by stepping, so it's a step on change, 1. Okay, let's start with the right leg. So you go 1, 6, 7, 8, 1. Then you take your left leg across. Left crosses the right, then you open both legs. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5.
Well, I think I have the moves on lockdown, but the problem is the speed. But let me try. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I have it.
Maybe I should leave it to the professionals. Dancing is actually a 9-to-5 job, more challenging than most fitness routines. Right now, we move on to a different class to speak to an internationally acclaimed choreographer.
I work with dancers mostly from South Africa and in Germany, where I'm based. And at the moment I'm directing and choreographing a dance rap opera. We're creating it in South Africa, but it's going to premiere in Germany. We have been working on the piece since April last year. The music is being completely newly composed by a composer in Canada. So we had workshops in Germany, and now we're working on the dance element with Moving Into Dance. And there is a singing element with opera singers from Cape Town Opera, who will also be rapping. And then there's a big stage design by a South African stage designer as well as the costumes by South African costume designers. So it's a big collaboration between Canada, Germany, and South Africa. There is this interesting definition of African contemporary dance, which I don't believe in at all. I think contemporary dance blurs the lines of different techniques, whether techniques come from Africa, from North America, from Europe. There are many different expressions, and it's very much about an amalgamation of these techniques that is then, depending on which choreographer that you're working with, is then kind of put together and pieced together in different choreographies. But it's an expression of different ways of moving from all around the globe.
This is my first family. So us dancing together, we're trying to stay out of the streets and doing wrong things and taking dance as a career and supporting our families. And this piece kind of talks to us as we want to share our inner beings on how we as dancers feel and how we are taken care about in the outside society.
And it's a wonderful opportunity to be working with Jessica Newpen and with my fellow colleagues. I mean, they give so much. Every day we come to studio and we try to give something new, we inspire each other, so it's just a wonderful feeling.
We have so much more of Trendz Travel coming up for you after the break, so don't go anywhere.
your organization perspective, a good move?
Of course, yes. We as an organization wholeheartedly welcome these special remission.
What does radical restructuring even mean?
Well, it means cutting deep. It looks like
Yeah.
they need to remove about 2,000 staff, so that's radical stuff.
He's talking once again of a restructuring that we've done plenty of times. So to scapegoat Saka and NUMSA is highly irresponsible instead of dealing with the corruption and rot at this entity.
I could not accept the level of unconstitutionality that Minister Twele was now going through. I said to him that he doesn't have this authority to appoint people as ambassadors.
A hike to beautiful Rainbow Gorge and back to Cathedral Peak is a whopping 18-kilometer intense hike, and this journey is one that Zondi felt he absolutely had to undertake.
This is Cathedral Peak near Bergville and Winterton in KwaZulu-Natal. The mountains are a beautiful green splendor with all kinds of wildlife, fauna and flora during the rainy season. They're beautiful to look at, but maybe not so glamorous when one has to climb up them. That's the task I'm embarking on with Bantu hikers.
It involved hopping, squatting, bending, every exercise that you can think of. And it basically encapsulates what a hike is all about. Difficult as it may be, but what is always most important is the destination.
It's about 18 kilometers. First, it's a massive mountain climb. Then it's through a thick forest. We walk through, over and in the river.
If you think there's an easy way of doing this trail, well, there isn't. The Didima Trail here at Cathedral Peak has had me on some swinging ladders. You go up and down. There are plenty of rocks that are very slippery because there's water that goes over them as well. And it's very thin and tight in spaces as well.
Guys, this is where Umgijimi was staying.
Going through some of the areas requires a team spirit. The grueling walk had some casualties. This lady couldn't walk by the end of things and ended up being carried by other hikers. Routes chosen in different hikes have varying levels of difficulty.
We always occupy the uncharted spaces and we occupy the most difficult hikes or spaces.
While it may be tough, one sees some of the most incredible views in South Africa. Taking in these sights is what partially makes it worthwhile.
The weather's actually been kind today. It's not very hot and it's not cold. It rained at the beginning of the train and we thought it would rain throughout, but the rain cooled things down and that's why we managed to have an enjoyable hike.
As the first part nears the end at Rainbow Gorge, those that are taking part seem to think it's worth the tough walk.
You know, I've never experienced something like this. And I don't think I wish to experience something like this. Oh! But I love it.
No, this is really good. This is definitely for the elders. Everybody come join Bantu hikers.
So far, it's been a challenging hike. We went uphill, there were ladders, there were mountains, there were rocks, there was mud. We just got ourselves dirty, but we really enjoyed it. And now I think we just need to prepare for the way back. But so far, so good. Nobody's injured, everybody's happy, and everybody's hungry. Let's go.
So it's good, energizing, but difficult.
First word is to say adventurous. Bafethu iSouth African nkulu asiphumeni sibuke indawo lihlize lethu, let's explore bafethu.
Especially the elderly people, they need to hike. Especially the young people as well, they need to join the elderly people so that they can encourage them to hike. Like myself, I'm being encouraged by these young guys. That's why they are pushing me in order to move forward.
Bantu hikers go on these quite often. They plan to walk sand dunes of Namibia later in the year.
And that's all we have here in this very relaxing edition of Trendz Travel, coming to you all the way from the Solstice Spa right here in Silver Star Casino. We'd love to see you again next week, same time, same place. Until then, cheers.
Our job as the SA Today team doesn't simply start when the cameras start to roll. We also work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep you up to date with stories of the day.
What have you established as an organization, or rather as an association, regarding this WhatsApp group Stokvel?
If you look at the WhatsApp Stokvels, people join irrespective of whether they know each other or not. So the person joining is faceless. The one recruiting is also faceless. It's a disaster.
Watch SA Today every day from 3 p.m.